Hello, good evening. Hi. Before I came on stream, I saw this thing. I was watching another streamer, and Miss Lucy Pyre was even, and she's watching a VOD of hers. Someone in the chat told about this subreddit, like a AI boyfriend subreddit, and I decided to have a look at it myself. And she was like, on the stream, she was like, "Holy shit, this is wow, this is a lot." And I'm looking at like, yeah, this is a lot. It's very dystopian reading it. Very dystopian indeed. Kind of uncomfortable, honestly, in a lot of ways. It's a lot of people who have very much gotten attached to AI partners of theirs, and think that they're real people. And you know, maybe the emotions they feel for them are real, but you know, it's all rather unnerving, I think. It's rather unsettling how they just talk about them like they're their soulmates, and they don't. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it's a lot to handle. Looking through it, it was like people trying to defend it by saying that they're neurodivergent, which is, I think, like not a great argument to have. I feel like people just kind of throw that word out like it's some kind of like immunity to anything slightly, even slightly seen as not great for your mental health. But it seems like many people say, "Oh, my life's been so much better since I've been dating my AI boyfriend." And it's like, yeah, I guess we're just at that point in the world now, aren't we? Oh well. I was thinking as well, actually. I think maybe I should need to stop streaming as much for a little bit, because I'm just kind of burnt out on a lot of stuff. Yeah. Maybe like have streams be less frequent, because I can actually, I want to work on other things instead. There are things I need to work on. For myself, right? For myself, so I need to maybe just stop streaming as much. Maybe only like twice a week or something like that. Maybe that would be for the best for me, so I can have like one day where I'm just kind of like not doing anything. Maybe I just need to take a break from streaming for a week or two and just focus on doing some non-stream stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I think I need to have a little bit of a break, or at least have some more time to myself to work on things. I've just not been a great sport recently, and I kind of realized I need to work on some other things in order to improve myself, my lot in life. I do need to work on some things which I can't do if I'm streaming a lot. And some people might argue that streaming a lot, you stream like maybe like 3 times a week. For like a hobbyist, I guess, that can be a lot. It can be a lot. On like stream for like 2 hours, you may say, "Oh, 2 hours is a long stream." 2 hours is a long time. That's a long time it takes out of your day. And when you're like doing other stuff, like working, how you have like a normal job, it's like, damn, it takes a lot of time. But yeah, I don't know, just not been in a great place mentally lately. Oh. I've not been in a great place mentally lately, and oh. What's going on with my tracking? We back? Yeah, we're back. I've not been in a great place recently. Partly due to work stuff, partly due to other things. I mentioned so in a play at the moment. I've realized I'm not enjoying the play. I don't like the character I'm playing, but it's kind of like I'm too deep in now to just like drop it. I'm just kind of not enjoying it at all, even. It's like a fine play, I just don't like it. It's not for me. I don't like my character, I think it's really boring. I have to do all the weird flirty stuff, which I'm not very good at. I don't like doing it. It's not something I'm accustomed to, so I don't know. It's not something. I feel like I got cast in the role just because I had the right look for it, but not the right skill set for it, and I'm like, I don't know. Whatever. It's all done now. Just need to carry on with it. Hang on. me look at this tracking here. Okay. Un momento, people. There we go. I figure we should just start reading, because I'm probably not going to be streaming too long today, because I don't know. It's very hot where I am. I had the warmest room in my house, and it's really uncomfortable in here at the moment. So I figure we can just maybe start reading already and just get on with it. And we'll just see how much we can get through, I guess. Anyway, let's get on with it. So, what book were we on? We were on book 13, I believe, of the Odyssey. I got through book 12 the other day just because I was pissed off with not being able to get through it. But yeah, we're here now. Oh, I forgot to play Brown Dust. Oh well, I can probably sign in a little bit on Brown Dust. Book 13. There we go. So yeah, just to catch up, Odysseus has fully finished his tale now of his journey home, of his the fights with all the monsters he's had, of how all his crew have died, and how now how he eventually ended up at the Isle of Calypso. Oh, sorry, it's not the Isle of Calypso. It's Calypso's island. At least Ogygia, the actual island. Anyway. So yeah, he's just finished his tale. Book 13. Odysseus lands in Ithaca. Odysseus' tale was finished. Held in the spell of his words, they all remained still and silent throughout the shadowy hall, till at last Alcinous returned to his guest and said, "Odysseus, now that you have set foot on the bronze floor of my great house, I feel assured that you will reach your home without any further wanderings from your course, though you have suffered much. But now, friends, this is my wish. Let it stand as an order to every one of you who comes to my palace to drink the sparkling wine of the elders and enjoy the minstrel's song. The clothing, gold ornaments, and other presents that our counselors brought here are already packed for our guest in a polished, strong box. I now suggest that in addition we each give him a large tripod and a cauldron. Later, we will recoup ourselves by a collection from the people, since it would be hard on us singly to show such generosity with no return." Alcinous' proposal was approved, and all went home to their beds. As soon as dawn came, fresh and rosy-fingered, they came bustling down to the ship with their welcome bronzeware gifts, and the great Alcinous himself went up and down the vessel, stowing them carefully under the benches, so that they would not hamper any of the crew as they pulled on the oars. This done, they returned for a banquet to Alcinous' palace, and great Alcinous slew an ox for them to sacrifice to Zeus of the black cloud, the son of Kronos, who is lord of all. They burnt the thighs and settled down to enjoy the splendid feast, while in their midst the people's favourite, Demodocus, that divine bard, sang to the music of his lyre. But Odysseus kept turning his face to the blazing sun, impatient for it to set, as he was longing to be on his way. He was like a ploughman who yearns for his supper after his 2 brown oxen have pulled the ploughshare up and down the field all day. The sunset is welcome to him, and his legs are weary as he plods homeward. Like him, Odysseus welcomed the setting of the sun that day. No sooner was it than he appealed to the Phaeacians, those lovers of the oar, and to Alcinous in particular. Lord Alcinous, most wonderful prince, make your drink offerings now and see me safely off. And farewell to you all, for now my dearest wishes have been fulfilled. I have your escort home, and I have your escort home, and I have your welcome gifts. May the gods in heaven bless them, and may I find my wife and loved ones safe and sound on my return home. As for you, whom I leave behind, may you all bring happiness to your good wives and to your children, and may the gods prosper you in every way and keep your people from harm. The speech of Odysseus won the approval of the whole company. They felt he had spoken in the right way, and so now gave instructions that their guest should be sent on his way. Mighty Alcinous called to his squire. Pontonous, he said, mix a bowl of wine and serve everyone in the hall so that we can make a drink offering to Father Zeus before seeing our visitor off to the land of his birth. Pontonous mixed the mellow wine, went his rounds, and served each of the guests, who, from their seats, then made libations to the blessed gods that live in the far-flung heavens. Then the gallant Odysseus rose from his chair and put his 2-handled cup in Arete's hands. He spoke, and his words were winged. My queen, here's fortune all your life, until a man's common lot, old age and death, comes to you. I take my leave of you now. Here in your home may you be happy, in your children, your people, and Alcinous your king. With this, the noble Odysseus stepped across the threshold. Mighty Alcinous ordered a squire to accompany him and lead him to the good ship and the sea shore. Arete sent with him a party of serving women, one with a clean cloak and tunic, another in charge of his strong box, and a third carried bread and red wine. When they came down to the ship in the sea, the young nobles who were to escort him took charge of his baggage, including all the food and drink, and stowed it in a polished ship. In the polished ship, I keep messing it up. For Odysseus himself they spread a rug and sheet on the ship's deck, well aft, so that he might enjoy unbroken sleep. Then he too climbed on board and quietly lay down, while the crew took their seats at the oars in order and united the cable from the pierced stone that held it. No sooner had they swung back and churned the water with their blades that sweet oblivion sealed Odysseus' eyes in sleep, delicious and profound, the very counterfeit of death. And now, like a team of 4 stallions on the plain, who start as one at the touch of the whip, leaping forward to make short work of the course, so the stern of the ship leaped forward, and a great, dark wave of the surrounding sea surged in her wake. With unfaltering speed she forged ahead, and not even the wheeling falcon, the fastest creature that flies, could have kept her company. Thus she sped lightly on, cutting her way through the waves, and carrying a man wise as the gods are wise, who in long years of war on land, and wandering across the cruel seas, had suffered many agonies of spirit, but was now lapped in peaceful sleep, forgetting all he had endured. When the brightest of all stars came up, the star which often ushers in the tender light of early dawn, the ship's voyage was done, and she drew near to Ithaca. Now, in that island is a cover named Ataphorsis, the Old Man of the Sea, with 2 projecting headlands sheer to seaward, but sloping down on the side towards the harbour. They protect it from the heavy swell raised by the rough weather in the open and allow large ships to ride inside without tying up. Once they are within mooring distance of the shore, at the head of the cove grows a long-leaved olive tree, and nearby is a pleasant, hazy cavern sacred to the nymphs whom we call the Naiads. This cove contains a number of stone basins and two-handled jars, which are used by bees as their hives. Also, great looms of stone where the nymphs weave marvellous fabrics of sea purple, and there are springs whose water never fails. The cave has two mouths. The one that looks north is the way down for men. The other, facing south, is for the gods, and as immortals come in by this way, men do not trespass there. It was here that the Phaeacians put in, knowing the place, and such was the headway the ship, rowed by those able hands that a full half of her keel's length mounted the beach. They rose from the benches, jumped out, and made it for the first task to lift Odysseus' sheet, glossy rug and all, out of the hollow ship and deposit him on the sand, still fast asleep. Next, they took out all the treasures which, at the prompting of the great-hearted Athene, their noble countryman had given him when he left for home. These they stacked in a pile by the trunk of the olive tree, well away from the path, in case some passer-by should find them before he awoke and rob him. This day they set out for home. Now, this done, they set out for home. And now, the lord of the earthquake, who had by no means forgotten the threats he had once uttered against the noble Odysseus, asked Zeus what he intended. "Father Zeus, the immortal gods will lose respect for me, now that these mortals fail to respect me, these Phaeacians, I mean, who after all are my descendants. I said that Odysseus would suffer much before he reaches home. I never put a final ban on his return, once you had promised it and nodded your assent. But now these people have brought him over the sea in their good ship, and landed him asleep in Ithaca, after showering gifts upon him, countless gifts, of bronze, gold, and woven stuffs, far more than he could ever have won for himself from Troy, even if he had come back unhurt with his share of the spoils." "Really," replied Zeus, gatherer of the clouds, "how can you, the great and mighty Earthshaker, say such a thing? It is not true that the gods don't respect you. It would indeed be a serious matter if they made disrespectful remarks about the eldest and best of their company. As for mankind, if anyone in the pride of his power treats you with disrespect, you have all the future in which to take revenge. You're free to please yourself. Act as your heart directs." "Lord of the Black Cloud," Poseidon answered him, "I should indeed like to do as you say, but I have always respected your anger and try to avoid it. Now, however, I propose to wreck that fine ship of the Phaeacians on the misty seas as she comes back from her mission, to teach them once and for all to give up this habit of escorting travellers. And I will also fence their town with a ring of high mountains." "Dear brother," said the gatherer of the clouds, "this is what I think best. When all eyes in the city are fixed on the ship's approach, turn her into a rock looking like a ship offshore. Everyone will be astounded. Then there's no need to throw a circle of high mountains round our city." When he heard the answer from Zeus, Poseidon made for Scere, where the Phaeacians live, and there he waited till the approaching ship, making good headway, came close to the land. The Earthshaker then drew near to her, and with one blow from the flat of his hand, turned her into stone, and rooted her to the sea bottom. Then he went away. And the Phaeacian spectators, oarsmen themselves and seamen of repute, looked at each other and cried out in words that flew, "Who in heaven's name has stopped our swift ship out at sea as she was making port? Only a moment ago she was in full view." They might well ask, for they had no inkling of what had happened, till Alcinous explained. "Ah, alas," he cried, "my father's prophecy of long ago comes back to me. He used to maintain that Poseidon resented our giving safe conduct to all and sundry, and he foretold that one day he would wreck one of our fine ships in the high seas as she was returning from such a mission, and would overshadow our city with a ring of high mountains. That is what the old man used to say, and now it's all coming true. Oh, just a moment. Sorry about that. But listen, and accept what I say. For the future, give up your custom of seeing home any traveller who comes into our city. And for the present, let us sacrifice 12 picked bulls to Poseidon. He may take pity on us and refrain from hemming in our town with a long mountain range. In great trepidation, they at once prepared the bulls for sacrifice. So the chieftains and councillors of the Phaeacian people gathered round the altar and interceded with Lord Poseidon. The good Odysseus now awoke from sleep on his native soil. After so long an absence, he failed to recognize it, because the goddess, Pallas Athene, daughter of Zeus, had thrown a mist over the place. Her intention was to make Odysseus unrecognizable, to tell him precisely how things stood, and to prevent his being recognized by his wife and friends, or the people of the town before the suitors had paid all their transgressions. As a result of everything in Ithaca, the long hill paths, the welcoming bays, the beetling rocks, and the leafy trees seemed unfamiliar to its king. He leapt to his feet, stood staring at his native land. Then he groaned, and slapping his thighs with his hands, he cried out in dismay, "Oh no! Whose country have I come to this time? Are they some brutal tribe of uncivilized savages, or a kindly and God-fearing people? Where shall I put all these goods of mine, and where on earth am I myself to go? If only I had stayed there with the Phaeacians, then I could have gone on to some other powerful prince, who would have received me well and seen me on my way home. As it is, I don't know where to hide them, and I certainly can't leave them here, or someone else will steal them. And what a blow to find that those Phaeacian lords and chieftains were not exactly wise and honest men. Instead, they will put me down in my own sunny Ithaca, and then they carry me off to this outlandish place. A broken promise, for which I pray they may be punished by Zeus, the god of supplicants, who watches all mankind and punishes offenders. But now I'd better count my belongings to make sure that the crew have not robbed me and gone off with anything in their hollow ship." With that, he checked his fine tripods and cauldrons, his gold, and his splendid woven fabrics, and found not a single item missing. So his thoughts turned to his native land, and, homesick and grieving, he dragged himself along the shore of the sounding sea. Athene now appeared, disguised as a young shepherd, with all the delicate beauty that marks the sons of kings. A handsome cloak was folded back across her shoulders. She had sandals on her glistening feet, and she carried a javelin in her hand. She was welcome sight to Odysseus, who came forward at once and spoke winged words. "Good day to you, friend. Since you are the first person I have met in this place, do not be hostile, but save these treasures and save me. So I pray to you as I would do a god, and kneel at your feet. But tell me, where exactly am I? But tell me exactly where I am. What part of the world is this? And what is this country called? And who live here? Is it one of the sunny islands of this fertile slope, running down to the sea part of the mainland?" "Sir," said the goddess with the gleaming eyes, "you must be a simpleton or have travelled very far from your home to ask me what this country is. It is a name by no means inglorious. In fact, it is known to thousands, to all the people who live in the directions of dawn and sunrise, and all who live in the opposite directions towards the twilight west. True, it is rugged and unfit for driving horses, and though not extensive, it is very far from poor. Corn grows well, and there is wine too. Rain and fresh dew are never lacking. It is excellent pleasure for goats and cattle, timber of all kinds, and watering places that never fail. And so, my friend, the name of Ithaca has travelled even as far as Troy. And that, they say, is a good long way from Achaea." Odysseus' patient heart leapt up as Pallas Athene, daughter of Aegis-bearing Zeus, told him its name, and he revelled in the knowledge that he was on his native soil. He addressed her with words on wings, but not with the truth. True as ever to his own interests, He held back the words that were on his lips. "Of course," he said. "I heard tell of Ithaca even over there across the sea, in the spacious land of Crete. And now I have come here myself with all this booty, leaving the other half of my fortune to my children. For I am an exile. I had killed Idomeneus' son, the great runner Orsilochus, who was faster on his feet than any living man in the whole island of Crete. He tried to fleece me out of all the booty I had won at Troy, my reward for the long-drawn agonies of war and all the miseries of voyages by sea, merely because I refused to obey his father and serve under him at Troy and preferred to lead my own command. So with a friend at my side, I laid an ambush for him at the side of the road and struck him with my bronze spear as he was coming in from the country. It was a pitch-black sky that night, covering the heavens, and it was Sol saw us. So no one knew that it was I who'd killed him. However, with the man's blood fresh on my hands, I hastily sought out a Phoenician ship and threw myself on the mercy of its honest crew. I made them a suitable payment for my booty and told them to take me on board and set me down in Pylos or the good land of Elis, where the Epeans rule, where the wind was too strong and drove them off their course, much to their distress, where they had no wish to cheat me. Driven back from there, we reached this island during the night and made the harbour by dint of rowing. And though we badly needed food, not a man among us thought of his supper. We all tumbled out of the ship and lay down just as we were. I was so exhausted that I fell sound asleep. Meanwhile, the crew fetched my belongings out of the good ship and put them on the stand where I lay. After which they embarked once more and set sail for their own fine city of Sidon, leaving me and my troubles behind. That was Odysseus' story. The bright-eyed goddess smiled at him and caressed him with her hand. She now wore the appearance of a woman, tall, beautiful, and accomplished. Then she spoke, and her words winged their way to him. "Anyone who met you, even a god, would have to be a consummate trickster to surpass you in subterfuge. You were always an obstinate, cunning, and irrepressible intriguer. So you don't propose, even in your own country, to drop the tricks and lying tales you love so much. But no more of this. We both know how to get our own way. In the world of men, you have no rival in judgment and argument, while I am preeminent among the gods for ingenuity and ability to get what I want. And yet you did not recognize Pallas Athene, daughter of Zeus, who always stands by your side and guards you through all your adventures. It was I who made all the Phaeacians take to you so kindly. And here I am once more, to contrive a cunning scheme with you, to hide the treasures that the Phaeacian nobles, prompted by me, gave you when you left for home, and to warn you of all the trials you have to undergo within your palace. Bear these with patience, for bear them you must. Tell not a single person, man or woman, that you are back from your wanderings, but endure all aggravation in silence, and submit yourself to the indignities that we put upon you." "Goddess," the nimble-witted Odysseus replied, "it is hard for a man to recognize you at sight, however expert he may be, for you are always changing your disguise. But this I know well, that you were gracious to me in the old days, so long as we Achaeans were campaigning at Troy. And when we had sacked Priam's lofty citadel and gone on board our ships, and a god had scattered the Achaean fleet, I did not notice you then, daughter of Zeus, nor see you set foot on my ship to save me from any of my ordeals. No, I was left to wander through the world with a stricken heart, till the gods put an end to my sufferings. The day came, in the rich land of the Phaeacians, when you comforted me with your talk, and yourself guided me to their city. But now, I beseech you in your father's name, since I cannot believe that I have come to my bright Ithaca, but feel that I must be wandering in some foreign country, and that you spoke as you did in the spirit of provocation to lead me astray. Tell me, am I really back in my own beloved land?" That shows how your mind always works, said Athene, goddess of the flashing eyes. And that is why I cannot desert you in your misfortunes. You are so persuasive, so quick-witted, so self-possessed. Any other man, on returning from his travels, would have rushed home in high spirits to see his children and his wife. You, on the contrary, are in no hurry even to ask questions to learn the news. No. With your own eyes you must first make sure of your wife, who, by the way, does nothing but sit at home, with her eyes never free from tears, as the slow nights and days pass sorrowfully by. As for your homecoming, I myself was never in any doubt. I knew in my heart that you would get back, though with the loss of all your men. But you must understand that I was not prepared to oppose my uncle Poseidon, who was incensed when you blinded his own son, and has nursed his grudge against you. And now, to convince you, let me show you the Ithacan scene. Here is the harbour of Phorcys, the old man of the sea, and there at the head of the harbour is the long-leaved olive tree, and nearby the pleasant hazy cave that is sacred to the nymphs, whom men called Naiads. This is the broad vaulted cavern where you made many potent sacrifices to the nymphs. The forest-clad slopes are those of Mount Neriton. Just a moment, sorry. As she spoke, the goddess dispersed the mist, and the countryside stood plain to view. Joy came at last to the noble, long-suffering Odysseus. Overjoyed at the sight of his own land, he kissed the fertile soil. Then, with uplifted hands, invoked the nymphs. I had thought, you nymphs of the springs, you daughters of Zeus, that I should never set eyes on you again. Accept my greetings, my loving prayers. I will give gifts to as in days gone by, if this warrior daughter of Zeus allows me to live and see my son grow up. Be bold, said Athene, the flashing eyes, and dismiss all such worries from your heart. Our immediate task is to hide your goods in some corner of this sacred cave where they may lie in safety. After that, we must decide on our best course for the future. The goddess now plunged into the gloom of the cavern to explore it for a hiding place, while Odysseus set about bringing in all his belongings, the gold, the indestructible bronze, and the fine fabrics the Phaeacians had given him. After he had stowed them carefully away, Pallas Athene, daughter of Zeus, closed the entrance with a stone. The two of them then sat down by the trunk of the sacred olive tree to scheme the downfall of the presumptuous suitors. The bright-eyed goddess was the first to speak. Odysseus, favourite of Zeus, son of Laertes, master of ingenuity. Consider now how you come to grips with these shameless suitors, who for 3 whole years have been lording it in your palace, paying court to your incomparable wife, and offering her marriage gifts. All this time she has pined for your homecoming, and though she has given them all some grounds for hope, and made promise in private messages to each, her real wishes are very different. Great heavens, cried Odysseus of the nimble wits. I would certainly have come to the same miserable end as King Agamemnon directly I set foot in my home, if you, goddess, had not made all this clear to me. But come, devise some ingenious scheme to punish these miscreants, and take your stand at my side, filling me with the spirit that dares all, as you did on the day when we pulled down Troy's shining diadem of the towers. Ah, lady of the bright eyes, if only you would aid me with such eagerness as you did then, I could fight against 300 with you beside me, gracious goddess, with your wholehearted support to count on. I will indeed stand at your side, Athene, the bright-eyed goddess answered. I shall not forget you when the time comes for this task of ours. As to those suitors who are wasting your fortune, I can already see them staining your broad floors with their blood and brains. But now to work. I'm going to change you beyond recognition. I shall wither the smooth skin on your supple limbs, and rob your head of its dark locks. I shall clothe you in rags that one would loathe to see on a human being, and shall dim your bright eyes till you are repulsive to the whole gang of suitors, and even your wife and the son you left at home. And now, for your part. You must first of all go to the swineherd in charge of your pigs. His heart is as loyal to you as ever, and he is devoted to your son and your wise Queen Penelope. You will find him watching over his swine out at their pastures by the Raven's Crag, and at the spring of Arethusa, where they find the right fodders to make them fat and healthy, feeding on their favourite acorns and drinking water from the deep pools. Stay there. Sit down with him and question him about whatever you want to know. Meanwhile, I will go to Sparta, the city of fair women, to summon Telemachus, your own son, Odysseus, who has travelled to the broad vale of Lacedaemon, and visited Menelaus in the hope of hearing news of you, whether you are still alive. Resourceful Odysseus replied, But why, in your omniscience, did you not tell him that I am? Do you not want him to roam? Do you want him to roam the barren seas in misery while strangers eat him out of house and home? You need not be alarmed for him, the bright-eyed goddess answered. I myself was his escort, so that he would win fame from his journey there. He is in no difficulties, but is sitting quite at ease in Menelaus' palace, in the lap of luxury. It is true that those young men in their black ship are determined to kill him before he can reach home, but I have an idea that they will not succeed. No. Sooner than that, the earth will close over some of these suitors who are wasting your wealth. Athene touched him now with her wand. She withered the smooth skin on his supple limbs, rubbed his head of its dark locks, covered his whole body with an old man's wrinkles, and dimmed the brightness of his fine eyes. And she changed his clothing into a shabby cloak and tunic, filthy rags grimy with smoke. Over his back she threw a large and well-worn hide of a nimble stag, and finally she gave him a staff and a proper shabby knapsack with a shoulder strap. Their plans prepared, the two parted company, and Athene went on her way to the sacred land of Lacedaemon to fetch Odysseus' son. This is a nice book. This is a nice part. Okay, let's talk about it then. So, very different mentalities here from Telemachus receiving gifts. Obviously Telemachus is getting gifts, and he's like, well, I need to be able to travel, and I need to be able to use them at home, so I'll decline. Odysseus is very much like, oh, I want fame and fortune, so I'm going to get them. They're given things like a cauldron and stuff, which would have been really expensive actually. Like big metal cauldron would have been quite expensive, especially one made of like gold or bronze or something. It's this really nice simile here, where Odysseus is waiting for the sun to go down so they can set off. So he's like a ploughman who yearns for supper after his two brown oxen have pulled the ploughshare up and down the field. I should make a note here. This is a very good example of I think Homeric loop, is it called? I think it's called Homeric loop. Yes, but Odysseus kept turning his face to the blazing sun, impatient for the set, as he was longing to be on his way. He was like a ploughman, and then there's the similar, blah 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 blah. His legs were weary as he plods homeward. Like him, Odysseus welcomed the setting of the sun that day. It's a common, I believe it is called a Homerical loop, where it'll say Odysseus thought this, then it will show what he thought, and then indeed Odysseus thought this. And it does that a lot in Homer's writings. It happens a lot in the Iliad as well. It's a very common trope. It's kind of like when these kind of have these very long-winded similes. These kind of things are helpful for these similes are long to try and like really capture this image, right? When this very specific image he's trying to picture there, so they're used to capture that. And there's a yes, it was like this that Odysseus. Because remember, we're still talking about this character here, and I was like, oh yes, very good. We're still talking about them, and that would be probably the common reason why it's used. We see Odysseus is great at speech as well. He says this nice speech which everyone always wants, which all the company likes. Lovely description here. No sooner had they swung back and churned the water with their blades than sweet oblivion sealed Odysseus' eyes in sleep, delicious and profound, the very counterfeit of death. This is a really pleasant description. It's quite, there is like an ominousness to it, right? Is it a foreboding of death coming, or is it meant to kind of set some kind of unease, or is it simply meant to be this is like the best sleep he's had in so long? It's almost like death's come over him, the very counterfeit of death. It's like the first time he's rested so well and so long. To have, it's like a, perhaps you could see it as the death of this part in his life, and a new part is coming now. Perhaps that's your own interpretation of that. I think it's a really lovely line though, very pretty. Sweet oblivion sealed Odysseus' eyes in sleep, delicious and profound, the very counterfeit of death. And now like a team of 4 stallions in the plain who start as one at the touch of the whip, leaping forward to make short work of the course, so the stern of the ship leaped forward. This kind of horse imagery along the ships is very common. Interesting to do with Poseidon itself. Horses were considered the animal representative of Poseidon, largely because like the sea spray and the waves look like a pack of raging horses, or pack of horses. They're like a stampede of horses, essentially. That's the idea behind it. It's a very common artistic image. You've probably seen it before, but yes, it's nice to see this kind of imagery used there for the ship. They mentioned here an old man of the sea. The island is named after Phoryx, the old man of the sea. We had another old man of the sea here, which doesn't get talked about at all. Earlier on we had Proteus, the old man of the sea. I guess there's like a bunch. These are all just like, was it the Naiads? Yeah, the Naiads. No, Naiads, maybe you say it, but there's a bunch of these like old sea nymphs. Nymphs are like probably the most common divine beings around, it seems. And there's several like older male nymphs, I guess. Though I think nymphs are generally seen as female, though I guess these are just like lesser deities. There's tons of lesser deities in Greece, so yeah. Oftentimes many of them would not have been worshipped. It could have been that they just simply named them for this one, for this poet. Who knows? For this poem. So you have this exchange between Zeus and Poseidon. Poseidon's not happy. And he's like, how dare you, why have you let him go? And I despise him. And he's like, oh, well, you're free to do what you wish. And there's this like element of threat to it, right? You're free to do as you wish. You're free to please yourself. Act as your heart directs. And Poseidon just responded, I should indeed like to do as you say, but I've always respected your anger and tried to avoid it. Like, Poseidon, Zeus is very much saying this, knowing full well that Poseidon won't do anything against him, right? The decision is final that Odysseus will make it home. But yeah. One thing I don't like is that Poseidon is very much like angered about the blinding of Polyphemus, but he never seems to address the fact that Polyphemus does not respect any of the gods. So yeah, Master Elijah in the game, you really wanted to come out. No, Nirvana has not been cancelled. Hi Thorn, how you doing? I hope you well. How are you well, my friend, my dear friend? Nirvana has not been cancelled yet, no. I was saying, it's in development still. I think it's on hiatus at the moment. So it was meant to come out back in like 2020. I remember talking about it with a friend of mine from the time. But yeah. No, maybe I mistyped something, I'm not sure. It's not been cancelled. But it was delayed, and everyone's like, what's going on? And they've made blog posts about it on their website. Sukaban Games, they're called Sukaban. They've made blog posts about it. There was a lot of kind of like creative differences going on, creative control issues going on as well between, because they're like a small indie studio, right? But like they all know each other, and there's like kind of a bit of creative control going on. So they kind of like, I think they got burnt out on it a bit. Apparently they've said that it's still coming out, but it's it will come out when it's ready. I think it's more on the back burner at the moment as they've got other things planned. They've got a new game coming out, which is, I think I showed it on stream the other week. It looks kind of like a mixture between Parasite Eve and Ghost in the Shell. Like very much like PS1 style looking game though. I think it's called like Magnum something. I can't remember the name now. But it looks pretty cool. But yeah, I do wish that I do earnestly hope that Nirvana won't get cancelled. Buster that was saying the other day. Actually, no, it was the week that week at the same time. Buster was saying that yeah, Nirvana. Yeah, it's a sequel to Valhalla. If you ever played Valhalla, it's all about it's a cyberpunk bartending game. Um, very very good game. But yeah, Nirvana. No, yeah, Nirvana's potentially on hold. If you go on the official trailer for it, they made a post I think last year, which is on the official trailer, said, "Hey, the game's not been cancelled. If it is cancelled, we will let you know." Oh, I think Parabellum Bloodhound. That was the name of the other game they're working on. Parabellum Bloodhound. Nope, never heard of it. I would highly recommend playing it. It's wonderful. It's a very like chill out game. It's one of those kind of games. It even recommends hey, chill out, maybe get some drinks and snacks, and just have a good time with it. It's very very good. It's very well written. I kind of hold it as a bit of a standard for like game writing, which a lot of video game writing is not very good a lot of the time. It's not. So having a game like that, which has very well written dialogue, is honestly so nice. And like a really thoughtful story. Kind of not really about anything in particular, but just about the lives of these people, in this world, which is constantly changing around them and them having to struggle to get through it all. It's a really, really nice story. Very funny as well, very dark in spots. But yeah, it's really cool. You just work as a bartender, and you just have to like serve drinks with all these people. It's really, really cool. Really, really fun game. But yeah, we're just talking about the Odyssey at the moment. I'm really not doing a long stream today. I'll probably just like after we've gone through like the summary of this book, I'll probably end it here. Honestly, the one just because I'm not feeling that well. It's very hot in my room at the moment, and it's not making it very comfortable. Not to mention there are other things that I want to do. Dustborn, plenty of good writing. No way! You mean Dustborn, the new porn? Oh goodness heavens me! That was certainly a game. That was a choice. Ooh, that game is wow. It certainly was something, wasn't it? Thing is, I say that I think that people have already forgotten about Dustborn as like something. It was like so inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Everyone just kind of said, "Well, this is just a shit game." It's not. It's not like this is overly woke or whatever. It's just this is like it's like ridiculously so. Yes, to the point that it's like it seems almost parody-esque, but it's not. It's dead serious. But then it's just like a bad game on top of that, right? So it's like okay, lovely. Like who's it for? No. Oh well. I guess I'd say poor Dustborn, but it's not poor Dustborn. Like literally, no one cares about Dustborn. No one's ever said my favorite game is Dustborn. Unless it's in the context of like that where I'm saying that no one has said it. That's the only time people have said that. But yeah, we don't talk about that game here. It's bad. It's a bad game. What are we talking about though? Yes, we're talking about the Odyssey. So Zeus and Poseidon have a little conversation. Poseidon is very... Oh, yeah, the game of it. Did that game, like, cease service? Is there an offline version of it available? That game is, like... Oh... People are like, this isn't wrong. You know, like, if anyone needs to know, don't trust game studios, trust the people, trust the names behind the games, right? I'm sure many of the people who worked on the old Arkham trilogy are no longer working at Rockstar. Rocksteady? What's it called? What's the game company called again? Who made it? I don't know. The developers. Offline only, I see. Yeah, it was, one of the games of time. I don't know, does anyone care about it? They're called Rockstar, like the Grand Theft Auto people, aren't they? Yeah. Rocksteady, most of the people that aren't working on it anymore, a lot of people didn't like the new Dragon Age game. Come on, who from BioWare is still working at BioWare who worked at the old Dragon Age games people actually liked? I'd never played Dragon Age myself, but I had friends who have been massive fans of it, so I understand it's well liked by a lot of people, but yeah. I always get Dragon Age and Dragon's Dogma mixed up as well, by the way. Apparently Dragon's Dogma 2 is pretty good. So good for Dragon's Dogma 2. Good for Dragon's Dogma. But yeah, no, we're just saying it. So like, you got like Poseidon arguing with Zeus, telling Zeus, I think it's ridiculous that Odysseus has been left. And it's like, okay, well, you're free to do as you wish. You're a god. You have the power to do it. And Poseidon, it's almost like a bit of a, whilst it's a very casual conversation. So yeah, it says, yeah, as for mankind, if anyone in the pride of his power treats you with disrespect, you have all the future in which to take your revenge. You are free to please yourself. Act as your heart directs. Now this is very earnest coming from Zeus here, but as with a lot of things from Zeus, there is an element of threat here, right? Because you respect Zeus. If you don't, you pay for it. And he said, and yeah, again, Poseidon responds, Lord of the Black Cloud. Even there, the epithet he used there, Black Cloud, implies that he's aware that there is some menace to what he's saying here. I should indeed like to do as you say, but I have always respected your anger and try to avoid it. Yeah, and eventually he does settle on something which will, like, Zeus says, okay, here's something which can probably appease your anger for a little bit. But, yeah, it's very much, you respect Zeus, even regardless of your thoughts on anything. Zeus is supreme at the end of the day. He's the god among gods. He is, like, omniscient and all-knowing. All-knowing? Isn't the same thing? He's omniscient and omniscient and omnipresent. He is the god, so you respect him, even the gods among him. He is supreme above all. And yeah, they talk about this like big prophecy they had. In order to get revenge on the Phaeacians who sent Odysseus home, when the ship is coming into shore, Poseidon turns it into stone, and the king of the Phaeacians, Alcinous, talks about this big prophecy he once heard from his dad, all about how they're going to get punished by keeping on helping out random travelers, and this is it. And they think that they're going to get their entire island surrounded by mountains and stuff. Interesting anecdote here. So, in the harbor of Corcyra in Corfu, is a rock. Yeah, in the harbor of Corcyra. In the harbor of Corcyra in Corfu is a rock which the locals call the ship of Odysseus. Proof, they say, that Phaeacia was Corcyra. That to me sounds like some kind of like local myth which has become a bit of a tourist trap. Like there's a lot of things in Ithaca. Apparently, I remember my teacher once told me there's a rock called the Rock of Penelope or something like that. It's a lot of all like touristy stuff. A lot of all these like local legends and stuff, local myths regarding these massive stories. It's probably a lot of bullshit, but I think it's kind of fun. Though I think this one thing which they're talking here is a bit of a stretch, right? It's a local legend, right? Don't put too much faith in it. But yeah, that was certainly one of the things we have this thing here. Odysseus wakes up and he's kind of like he doesn't recognize his own home because Athene's kind of stopped him from recognizing it with her powers. Just a moment. Yes, yeah. So you have this wonderful exchange here where Athene's in disguise. She disguises herself as a shepherd first and says, "Oh well, this is Ithaca. Like, how could you not know this? It's known quite far and wide. And explains the whole story about Ithaca. And then Odysseus is still weary. He's still wary. He's wary, but he's still wary of what's going on. He's still wary of who people are, and he's always looking out for himself. So he's like, "Oh yes, I have heard of Ithaca, even across my travels." And he makes up this whole story on the spot about how he murdered someone at Troy and then left and has been kind of struggling to get back home, and has got all this treasure with him now, which the Phaeacians helped them move, and yeah, and he's very much like thinking on the spot here with this, just to try and like cover all his backs, make sure, because he didn't want to reveal, just in case he doesn't know the situation yet. He doesn't want to reveal that he's the king of Ithaca yet. And of course, then you have Athena who reveals herself to him as a goddess and says, "Yeah, we both know how to get our own way, And she has these wonderful things there. Like, you are always obstinate, cunning, and you were always an obstinate, cunning, and irrepressible intriguer. So you don't propose, even in your own country, to drop the tricks and lying tales you love so much. Like, this is one of the reasons why she enjoys Odysseus. She likes him so much because he's always thinking about that. He's always got his like mind on the. He's always like got a sharp mind around him. It's like constant cunning is like a something which many people would not like, but Athene loves it because she's all about wisdom, right? She's all about smarts and intellect. It's something she very much appreciates, especially in a mortal man, in a mortal. And yeah, there's a lot of very, very lovely dialogues here between them, and you can tell that despite the troubles that he's gone through, Athene really does care for Odysseus quite a bit. Granted, these are still divine beings and such, but she is like, come on, we're gonna think of a plan together. Like, she has a lot of, it's not just like care, she has a lot of respect for him as well. And even that she still delivers her own plan, but at the end of the day, but it's like, she's treating him like an equal on this front, right? She's, like, Odysseus is like someone who can match wits with her, I guess, is the kind of thing they're going for, which is a lovely sentiment, right? It's very lovely, I like it quite a bit. Yes, and that is why I cannot desert you in your misfortunes. You are so persuasive, so quick-witted, so self-possessed. Yeah, any other man on returning home from his travels would have rushed home in high spirits to see his children and his wife. You, on the contrary, are in no hurry, even to ask questions and to learn the news. No, with your own eyes you must first make sure of your wife. So yeah, I just think it's a really nice exchange they have between them. They have a really good rapport going on. Yeah, I don't think there's much point to hear much anything else here. They do change, like, they have changed, she does change Odysseus into this, like, homeless looking vagabond, which I think is very funny. But yeah, there's not much else to say about it there. She does say that she's decided to go help with Telemachus out, so that, what was it now? Oh god. She decided to help Telemachus out so that he could actually, like, gain honor and glory and such, which is very important to the Greeks. A very, very important thing. So that's why she's gone with him, despite the fact that he's in incredible danger and doesn't really know how to look after himself, but she's always been looking after him. Sorry about this, I'm just going to put the BGM on. That's the wrong one. I know. There we go. But yeah, Dragon Age Veilguard. I've heard not many great things about that. There's a VTuber I like called Nene Amano who did a pretty big video, which kind of blew up a bit, which was her reviewing the game. And she was reviewing it as like an old Dragon Age fan. Did not like it. It kind of went from like, oh, I like this game, and then as the game went on, it slowly became more and more, I hate this game. This game sucks ass. Oh yeah, Thorn, I was going to say as well, I did say it very early on at the beginning of the stream, I think for now, for the foreseeable future, I will have to not stream as much. Just because for my own health's sake, I'm kind of getting burnt out on a lot of stream stuff with like other stuff going on in my life. And I want to work on other things as well. Other things which aren't streaming. I want to work on like recordings and stuff and videos and stuff like that. I need to like not stream as much for that. So yeah, that's what I'll have to be doing. Either way, I hope that won't be an issue. Yeah, probably maybe it's 2 times a week for streams maybe now. I don't know. I'll see how I'm feeling. But yeah, I didn't want to do a long stream today. We got that book there though, so we'll leave it there for today, folks. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Keep well, stay safe, eat lots of good food. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.